Welcome back to the working force, Mephisto.
Oh, in between rebuttals, the neutral people can weigh in on what they think so far.
Don't make me regret this.
All right,
Santa.
it's on. It's on.
No,
it's on.
cool.
All right, it's on. So, what's up, everybody? So, what we're doing today is a discussion on who is a better character, Batman versus Punisher. It's not a versus battle. So, if you're going to be a dickhead and post down below, yo, Batman would kick his ass, shut up. But, anyways, so the people that will be discussing this today in this roundtable, myself, I'm repping Punisher. My boy Sin is also repping Punisher. Sin, you can say what's up.
Yo, what's up, y'all?
Team Batman consists of my buddy Skinny.
Yep, what's good?
We also have Blueface.
Yeah, baby, yeah, aight.
And then Dr. Tom.
What's up?
All right, so we also have neutral people that will kind of weigh in throughout the argument. We have Donovan.
What's up?
We have Chad.
Yo.
Man,
He has an accent, so he bolos. And then we have Mephisto, who's omnipotent.
Oh my God! What's
Hell
up?
yeah!
Wait, Godspeed
All
Ninja.
right.
You said Batman kicks publisher's ass.
Publishers.
It's a hell of a way to start. Anyways,
Yeah.
okay, Team Batman. Team Batman will start it off because y'all have three people. Who wants to start with your opening defense of Batman?
Bet I'll start. So,
All right,
it is
everyone mute except for him. You got 2 minutes, cuz.
All right, got you. So, starting now. All right. So, it is my inherent belief that one of the core values of a character makes up the stories that are written. You can have the best character in the world, but their stories stink, wouldn't matter, and vice versa. And with that, I simply believe that Batman has had better stories. He's a childhood figure. The guy's iconic, and many would argue that he single-handedly carries all of DC on his back. His movies are phenomenal. His single issues are even more. It would be an understatement to say phenomenal. His character, while admittedly his backstory is a bit repetitive, it's no doubt that he's a classic icon in the world of comics. And if it wasn't for him, DC would not be as great as it is now.
All right, solid intro. Sin, do you want to go for Punisher opener, or do you want me to go?
Sure, I'll go. All right. So,
All right.
the one thing I would say puts Punisher above Batman, right, is that he has very little morals, right? Batman is not willing to, do the deed and like kill people, right? Punisher doesn't give a fuck. I would say Punisher is more of a manly man.
It's
Like his pain
3:30.
tolerance is ridiculous. He consistently bullies like people that we would consider Chad, like Wolverine and Deadpool, shit like. So basically, that's what I would say.
All right, so Dr. Tom and Blueface, y'all can pick which one of you will respond.
All right, I guess I'll go. So,
All right, so you're responding to us calling Batman straight pussy, son.
Dead ass.
all right. So the reason why I consider Batman a better character than Punisher is mainly because he's a flawed man. Because of his childhood, now he had to witness his murder. It made him into who he is. And when I say flawed, I mean he's paranoid as shit, which is why he's like the meme with him being an expert planner and he planned for everything. That's because of his paranoia, you know. And because of his paranoia, he achieved like great strides, and he achieved like great feats on his run. And that's pretty much all I have to say for now.
All right, so I'll start off with my Punisher bit. So the reason I put Punisher, simply put, above Batman is because Punisher is more relatable in the sense that he has a moral compass that may not be the nicest to our beliefs because he's so vicious, but he follows it no matter what. In fact, it actually makes him one of the most reliable and consistent characters in all of comics because he has a specific set of standards, and he follows it no matter what. They can plug Punisher, like Nick Fury and Punisher Max signed him up for a job because he said, I know you, Punisher, you are a killer, you will torture, you'll blow someone's head off, but you'll do the right thing in the end, and you have lines you will not cross. And the lines that he will not cross is what separates him from being a good and a bad person, whereas the lines Batman won't cross separate him from getting the job done and not getting the job done. The fact that he won't just end Joker for the betterment of society is one of the dumbest things still going in comics. For as much as I love Batman, it's one of the dumbest things. And with Punisher, if he was going up against someone like Joker, he would put a bullet in his head and call it a day. And you could say, oh, that hurts its stories. No, because the point with Punisher, the reason he has to do what he does is because there's always another bad guy that will pop up. And that's his job, is to handle the next man. And so because like Batman, he takes away a lot of his realism because of his prep time bullshit, whereas Punisher is gritty and we understand where he's coming from, the anger he has, his reactions. So he's more relatable and he's way more consistent than Batman as a character. So now we will have the neutral heads weigh in so far of what they think. Start with Donovan.
All right. I thought the opening statement about like Batman being iconic felt like it kind of felt a little flat because that doesn't really say much about his character, more about the industry as a whole. I do see that he is an icon and he has influenced comic books, forever. And I won't disagree with that. I thought the most compelling thing that was said, though, was probably Splash's position about how, like, Punisher, he has his, like, moral line that he will not cross. Or versus, like, Batman, where his lines kind of, like, inhibit him in a way. Although it kind of turned into a more efficiency over morality. And I think it's more compelling to talk about someone's morals because they're, at least in the sense of how we view our own society, because it's more consistent to talk about how we view people from certain situations rather than to talk about how as efficient it is in the comic book fictional verse to talk about how this person can be killed in any moment just for the betterment of society, because you don't get those kind of decisions in real life. So I would have to say that I'm more convinced that Punisher's a better character just for the fact that he has like lines that he'll stick to, which is very much relatable to any like person you know lives in society. So I'd have to go with that.
All right, so that's your stance currently. Just to remind the viewers, their stance will obviously could be affected as this goes on. Chad, go ahead.
Oh shit. Okay, so listening, I'm still a bit neutral to be honest. I'm not really favouring to one party at the moment. I think I've still got because I don't really know that much about both characters. I don't. I'm more of a Hulk Todd, but so I'm gonna have to hear a bit more. Hey, yeah, that's enough.
Okay, Mephisto.
Well, I'm pretty much the same way. I really don't care about either side, really. I mean, I could say them pretty much anything about both of them be the same, in my opinion. But
all right, you bastards. We're talking about the cases presented so far.
okay. But when it comes to like Batman, yeah, he is a good character, and sometimes his paranoia does play a good factor in like the story. But his paranoia does bring him down a lot in most of the instances. Because with the Joker, that's a good factor in. Punisher is willing to get the job done, which Batman is just willing to rehabilitate his villains and make them a lot more better to society, which always seem to fail. Well, besides Clayface, that actually did work in somewhat, but he got killed. Either way, yeah, Batman's paranoia does lead to his downfall. You see like stories like Tower of Babel, his paranoia plays in there. He doesn't trust his fellow League members and end up having the villain Ra's al Ghul take his own contingency plans against them and using his own. There's also a fall of trust against friends and those who consider you family. Batman's other flaws is that when he brings children into in his crusade in his own.
Hey, no one brought that up. You leave the children out of this. They were not used yet.
But either way, Punisher, the way it's very presented, he's like, there's more arguments for him being a little bit more better of a character than what Batman has shown. Well, what's presented for Batman at this point. If I see any more, I might change my mind.
All right, so Dr. Tom, Blueface, Skinny, which one of you would want to speak on the paranoia first of Batman, which seems to be the factor right now?
All right, I've got rebuttals for days. So I've got rebuttals for actually both of you. In terms of him not being a Chad, I'm going to keep this part quick. Batman is possibly the biggest Chad in all of comics, period. When Punisher stares in the face of an archetypal monster that's going to destroy everything and then shoots him in the chest, call me. He also has his feats with Bane and Deathstroke perform killers. In Rebirth recently, he took on Bane, who had soloed all of Arkham, filled with some of the most deadly street villains in all of DC. Bane takes out all of them, meets Batman, and those two go toe-to-toe. And Batman says one of the best lines in all of DC Comics after Bane had spoken for the umpteenth time, "I'm going to kill you, Batman." He looks at him right in the eyes and says, "Do you know how annoying it is to hear that over and over again every single night, to hear my name associated with the word death," and proceeds to pound him in and scream, "I am Batman." As for the paranoia thing...
hold on. I'm just warning you. Do you really want to get into one-liner battles? I'll fuck your shit up. I don't think you want to go that route.
You want
all right. The door's open.
No.
The neutral party, I accept the challenge.
I'm going to take on the paranoia thing first, then we can talk about one-liners.
Damn.
All right, go ahead.
So, as for the paranoia thing, I would argue that makes him more of a relatable character, because it's not necessarily paranoia, more the need to always be prepared. He looks out for, or should I say, he acts like the common man. Anything that's outside of our power or jurisdiction, we always try to control or somehow master. I mean, we see this with modern day science, medicine, mathematics, and technology. We're constantly trying to improve ourselves and make ourselves more of the superior being, and lazy, admittedly. And this also leads into the prep time thing, right? A lot of people say, well, that makes him unrealistic. No, if anything, that makes him more realistic, because if you were the peak of human efficiency and you were dumped into a world of comics where archetypal and platonic concepts are now an actual thing and superheroes are flying around in jet streams, no, you would use the resources at your disposal. In this case, billions upon billions of dollars in direct access to things such as the Watchtower, which has housed some of the most incredible technologies ever seen before. Naturally, his prep time and his ability to use these resources to his best ability isn't so much more based on paranoia, or even in the cases that it is paranoia, it doesn't make him less relatable. I would argue it makes him more logical, because if Superman the threat of Superman flying into my cave, grabbing me by the throat and snapping me in front of the previously brought up kids, that's just too much for me. I wouldn't be able to handle that. I would make sure I had some way of protecting myself, family members, and planet in this case, possibly universe, depending on the sizes, if need be. Simply put, the paranoia thing, yeah, I can see where you guys are coming from, but it's not as unrealistic when you consider Batman's primary motive, which is my next main claim, the human factor. Batman's not supposed to be this perfect Superman character or Punisher character in this case. Rather, he's supposed to be realistic. And realistically speaking, if I was put on a planet full of superpowered beings that could mess my whole country up, no, I would do everything in my power to make sure I had the tools, resources, and strategies necessary to protect myself and to bring them to justice. Oh, and should I talk about the Joker thing? Because I can talk about the Joker thing too.
You can save that, just so you don't go
I'll
over
save
it.
that. All right,
All right. So, Sin, do you want to respond, or you want me to respond?
You could respond to this one. I'll handle other.
Okay. So first off, on the Chad point, there's several characters that scale above him in Chadness. But as far as one-liners, we saw Kingpin and Punisher Max completely destroy Punisher. He hired Bullseye to take out Punisher. Punisher got bodied. Punisher was outnumbered, outgunned. And he was told when he was getting tortured Kingpin said, "Yeah, you might be the Punisher, but this is my city. And in my city, you're not shit." And he got the shit kicked out of him. Comes back later eventually, and he puts Kingpin's head through the window of a car, puts a gun to the back of his head, and said, "This is your city, but this is my world," and blows his head off. And that's the difference between him and Batman. Is Punisher does what a normal person would do. And case in point, there's a situation in Texas where this dad got in a car accident with his family. His family dies, and he gets out of the car and discovers the guy's drunk. The other guy's a drunk driver. And he goes home, gets his gun, and puts a bullet in that guy's head. And then he went to court for murder, and no one convicted him of murder because they all understood he did what he does. And for Punisher, even though people would like to say they wouldn't get their hands as dirty as Punisher does, he gets his hands dirty for a reason because he's trying to protect everyone around him. And he doesn't bow down to anyone because he doesn't play for any team. He plays for good, and that's it. For example, there's one mission he goes on in Punisher Max where he has to go to Russia, save this little girl who has a virus inside of her that can, destroy flesh instantly. He saves the little girl, and in 48 hours, the virus will leave her body, so it won't be usable anymore. So he brings her back to the States, and Nick Fury's the one that hired him. And the colonels all run to Nick Fury, freaking out, and they say, "Hey, Punisher came back, and he broke the arms of the doctors that tried to touch the girl, and now the virus is gone. We can't use it anymore." And Nick Fury said, "Yeah, I knew that shit would happen." And they're like, "Why? Like, why the fuck would you hire him to do that?" And he said, "Because Punisher doesn't play for America. He doesn't play for the U.S. He plays for the good. He plays for the little people." And what Punisher told that little girl when he pulled up to that nuke site, after he had literally been mutilating people this whole time, shows up and looks at that little girl in her face, and she says, "I don't understand why they keep hurting me. They keep stabbing me with needles, and they won't stop." And he said, "Anyone touches you, I'll hurt them worse." And he kept his promise, even though it wouldn't help put his country over the edge or keep them safe, because that, at the end of the day, that's not the line you cross. And Batman's so worried about everybody else, and he's so worried about. He talks about, you talk about how logical he is and how human that is, but let's go through the basic logic of this. I'm going to heal a guy that throughout decades has never shown a tendency to change. No, in the slightest. Of course, I'm referring to Joker. He says, "I'm going to rehabilitate this guy for the 600th time, and it'll probably work this time." And why? Because he doesn't want to kill. But Batman is killing dozens, if not hundreds to thousands of people because he won't pull the trigger on this one. So he is just as liable for the killing. Won't do what takes to be done, what is needed. Meanwhile, Punisher, you plug him into that situation, he's taking out his Glock and he's putting one in his head and he's saying, "All right, we can go home. Your kids will be safe tonight because he's dead." That is way more logical than Batman. Batman's logic is flawed. But I'll give Dr. Tom or who else is left? Dr. Tom, who else is on your team? Fuck, Blueface.
Blueface.
Dr. Tom or Blueface, would one of you like to respond? I see Tom looks like he's about it. I see you unmuted.
Yeah.
All right, I'll let Tom.
On the Joker point where you said that Batman's refusal to kill, and because of that, it ended up a lot of people dying. Batman takes that responsibility, but because of what happened to him in his backstory, he's refusing to use guns or even kill because he's scared. He's like, basically what I'm saying is he's one bad day away from becoming a Punisher. But when Batman knows that if he crosses that line, he's not going to come back. And he just doesn't want to see himself portrayed as that. He's a role model to all the kids in his comic, to even like his proteges. Even now, he still thinks of himself as a role model to them. He has to live up to his morals because he doesn't want any of his proteges, turning bad. Well, I mean, besides Jason Todd, but he doesn't want any of them becoming Punisher. If you understand what I'm trying to say, he doesn't want that. He wants them to find like other ways to put threats down without killing them. And of course, it's very hard because Joker exists and he's constantly killing people. Batman, he knows that the only way to like take him down is to kill him, but he also feels responsible for Joker's creation as well because he made Joker during that incident. I think that's why he won't kill Joker. And that's all I have to say.
Go ahead, Sin.
All right, so to counter the Joker point, right? We all know the term if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But Batman's logic, right, is worse than broke. It's like shattered into pieces, and he consistently tries to fix this this situation, right, that he has no hope of ever fixing. Joker's not going to change. He was never shown any sign of changing, right? And he just won't get the job done. Even though it may be like too easy, right, as he calls it, right? He says it's too easy, and he won't be able to turn back. You've got to do that for the greater good of humanity. Like it's almost like he's putting himself over like the lives of people that Joker is taking. And you said that like he takes responsibility for like the people Joker kills. Like he doesn't really. All he does is like, okay, I guess I gotta go take down Joker after he's killed like these thousands of people. That's not really like responsibility. Another thing for Punisher, right, is that while Batman, right, Batman has a lot of enemies like Deathstroke, Deadshot, right, for example, right, that take pity on him in a way, right? They just say, oh, I respect Batman, so I'm not gonna kill him, even though I definitely can. No one does that for Punisher. No one can just walk up to Batman and say, oh yeah, I can kill you, but I won't do it right now.
Daredevil, but yeah.
Oh gosh.
He called him an amateur and said if I wanted, I'd kill. But yeah, okay, keep going.
Yeah, that's pretty much my my counter.
All right, Blueface, go ahead and put your last word in, and then we'll get the neutrals to talk.
Yeah, Blueface.
Yeah, not really like thing for Batman. Like, I'm not trying to put in the words, to be honest with you, but reason I like Batman because I like his prep. I don't care what none of y'all saying about all these words and morals, all that bullshit. I like his prep shit. That's all I like. So fuck all that bullshit.
Blue, I swear to Lord.
Blue don't give a fuck.
You want me to?
Yeah, Blue.
Bullshit, bro.
Blue.
Just about to sicken the shit out of Josh.
Just hit him with the yeah. Just hit him with the yeah.
Blue, I gotta kick you off my team. You traitors.
Bitch, I joined your team to help you.
I know you're not helping me. You want me to pick up that Blue? You want me to?
You call that help?
All right, hey, serious question. Do you want to sub out Blueface for Jade? Because Jade's gonna wet himself if he doesn't join.
Sure.
That's facts.
Yeah. I'd like to see Jade in here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come here, Jade.
Because
Because oh my gosh,
Jade, you have 2 minutes, and then
Alright.
we switch.
So you Punisher, right? You think better character?
There's a few people. Well, it's me and Sen, and then now it's you four. Well, technically 3 now, but yeah.
Basically, the character of Batman. The reason this is all what Punisher is. Punisher is, in a sense, he is in the same sense of Batman, but in example, in the Dark Knight's Metal Rising, Batman has shown times where he will break and he will turn into the Punisher and he will try to take action or course of action, dismantle something. He, again, as somebody described, right? I know it's easy to just dismantle a person and just kill them and end that, right? But he does not believe in the sense of I'll kill you, so eye for an eye. He believes in the sense
You're
that
gay anyway.
Oh my god, shut the fuck up, later race. Alright, so the point is that he doesn't believe in another person dying. He wants to stop as many casualties, right? He will resist ever killing somebody. That is just his morals. That is his moral system. So in Batman, like the whole Dark Knight Rising event, right? He is just on the verge of turning into a Punisher.
You're gay anyway, Jay.
Oh my God, he's on the verge of
You know,
turning into.
Kratos, respect the Roundtable. It's actually being recorded.
Oh yes, of course. Mind my impudence.
Okay. So he's on the verge of turning it into the Punisher, and then he snaps Joker's neck, and because of that, he turns into the Batman who laughs, who causes even more casualties than just the Joker. So the reason why Batman keeps trying to fix his mistakes or doesn't want to kill people is because he believes his logic is, this is what I didn't like about what you guys said. His logic is that he does not want more casualties or more people to get hurt, so he will do everything that he thinks will prevent that, which is to stop that. So that is the whole theory of the Dark Knight Metal Rising. So that is why I believe Batman is a better character than Punisher, because Punisher is just this character who endlessly tries to punish and tries to justify killing people, while Batman has logic and has reason of this.
All right, so
I'll pass
yeah,
it to you.
real quick, before we have the neutrals weigh in, I will say this. So when you just mentioned how Batman turned into the Batman who's laugh, it broke him to kill someone. Guess what? Punisher could do that shit and still be about that life and not fucking break and become a bad guy. So that goes with one of the points we made about Punisher, is that he's just more of a manly willpower character, whereas he can follow the route he has chosen to take and not sway from his moral code. His moral code won't be jeopardized by him being about it. So that's one point we made for Punisher that I'll just reiterate. As well as Punisher doesn't really try to justify or explain his ways to people. He just gets the job done. He's not out here like, oh guys, forgive me because I shot him in the head. Like, I have to do it. He's like, nah, I fucking murked him. It is what it is. Get on with it. Because guess what? That girl Batman saved the other day, but he won't put down that villain. When she gets her face ripped off from acid attacks from someone like Scarecrow, that won't happen with Punisher, because Punisher will put a fucking bullet in his head before he has a chance to kill your daughter. And at the end of the day, there's a lot more collateral going with Batman's side of things because of his logic and because of his supposed morals. Whereas when Punisher is willing to do what it takes and get the job done, your kids will be safer at night. So neutrals, how do y'all feel so far? Starting with, I'll go Donovan. I agree, Donovan. Moving on to Mephisto.
Well, I don't know why is Joker always brought up. There's more than one other villain in fucking Gotham that causes just as much problems as fucking Joker does. You got the Penguin, you got Riddler. Riddler's just as dangerous as Joker, if not better, if not worse. He's more tactical than Joker. He actually he does just as good mind games as Joker. Does more casualties than Joker. And you got Penguin, who recently in the Red Hood and the Outlaws, the Red Hood's own father got sent to jail and then later on killed because of he was into with Penguin. And then you got Red Hood trying to kill Penguin, get revenge from him, and you got Batman come out of nowhere and try to stop him from killing Penguin. The same thing go with the Red Hood. Back in the day, he would try to kill Joker for killing him. And comes Batman, try to stop him from doing it. I think that Batman just keeps doing the same things over and over again, but it just gets him nowhere. Unlike the Punisher, he's just there to get his job done, and that's it. He doesn't care about the outcome. He cares about the outcomes, but not to a degree as Batman. That's all I gotta say.
All right, Donovan, are you back or?
Yes.
All right.
I was gonna say, I thought my mic is muted or something. So the point about the paranoia and how you can understand Batman has this intense anxiety, which is relatable to people when they have in stressful situations where they think that planning everything out to the keyest detail is the only option they have because they're stressed out. They think that this is the way you can protect people, and they he was saying that you can be, if you're thrown into this comic world, these fictional beings are they're real, then what Batman's doing makes a lot of logical sense. But on the point about Punisher just being able to be like more efficient with like his style, his style of killing and the way he just ends situations before they become a problem. Now, Batman always tries to see the light in other people, and that seeing that light in people who have consistently shown to not be that kind of person who's upstanding and able to, be that quality of a hero. And Batman trying to save them always ends up getting like people hurt or killed in a lot of instances. I would say that it's more of a testament to the Punisher that he is more decisive and like just able to end situations like real quickly. But the point about like fucking Batman, just like how he's able to just consider all these variables and still keep his moral standing, and he's just a normal guy. Like in this situation, he's able to stick with his morals even despite push from other people, even like friends and other superheroes and colleagues, whatever, right? That he needs to become the Punisher, needs to become that kind of person, and he's able to still stick with that. I think is it's not necessarily more relatable, but I think I understand that those qualities are more enriched in Batman than they are into Punisher. I feel like I would have to like side with Batman a little bit more now.
Interesting. Who is? Oh, Chad.
All right, let me just say something. Blue, you're the same nigga that likes the Sentry, alright? So you just need to calm down.
Yeah,
If this was a century riot, trust me, I would be on that.
But
Calm down.
I thought you said, Splash, about how the Punisher's more relatable. About that whole example of that father in, what is it, America or something. I agree with that. My dad said on countless of times, if anyone fucks with you, your mum, or your sister, I'm going to straight up just cap them and move on. So in that regard, I do believe he's a bit more relatable. But Batman, he's out here trying to rehabilitate boys by like viciously beating the crap out of them. Like which could potentially like end up with PTSD or mental scarring. So all that rehabilitation ain't worth shit. That if at the end of the day they end up committing suicide anyway.
To be fair, both of them are shitty parents. I don't think anyone's going to argue if either are good parents.
Oh my god, dude.
At least, but you know what? I will say this though. At least Punisher was smart enough to say, "Okay, I probably shouldn't have any more fucking kids because this life I live is dangerous." Whereas Batman loses one fucking kid to Joker and is like, "Hey, let me go get another 9-year-old to fight crime. Like, let's fuck some shit up."
At least Batman trains his kids to defend themselves.
I mean, even Dick Grayson.
Hold up.
After he ruins their entire lives.
Punisher was in Vietnam.
At least Batman trains his kids to defend
Punisher was
themselves
in Vietnam
to become heroes and to carry on their legacy.
The first day he got back, his kids got murdered.
So exactly, that's what happened with Batman.
How does he teach his kids? And first off, he's not stealing kids. Batman steals kids.
Those
aren't even his kids.
No, he doesn't steal them.
Batman
does not steal them.
Batman literally abuses Robin.
Number one, he did. Whoa!
All right, buddy.
He did. He Batman Robin multiple times.
Even if Batman trains his kids, he puts them in the situation where they need to be trained in the first place anyway. So.
Skinny, listen.
No.
Why? Let's do yourself. Why no.
All right. Let's calm down. This turned into a brawl. Okay.
What kind of World War II shit is
this?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Mephisto down.
So I think we all agree they both suck as parents. So we'll kind of leave that out of this. But anyways, Batman's side. Would you like to start off again? This will probably be our last round.
All right, I got to blitz 2 points real fast, and I'll get on to this thing real fast. So as for Mephisto's Riddler and Penguin are just as good as Joker? No. When Riddler has the city under siege by gas, call me. As for the Deadshot and Deathstroke, they spare him, they have pity on him or whatever. Punisher literally has the exact same thing with Daredevil. Batman outright said, yeah, you may be a devil, or you may be a demon, but I'm the devil. He called him an amateur at best, and that if he started using guns like him, he would butcher him and his competition. Now,
yeah, but Daredevil's pussy. But keep going.
Yeah, but if he, and what does that make Punisher? Batman
The
literally
guy that killed Kingpin when Daredevil can't because he's
the
pussy.
guy that got
Keep
tricked
going.
by
Damn.
Daredevil and went to jail. But yeah, no, he threw him in jail by the
The
way.
guy that left
But as for
Wolverine under a fucking
but since we're
steamroller
talking about
and
Oh
went and
my
got a beer.
God.
Go ahead, keep going.
Since we're talking about the Joker and the rehabilitation thing. Okay, no. So you guys don't read DC Metal. So thank God Jade brought this point up because I was having an ulcer. One of the main reasons why Batman doesn't kill him is because the Joker is a literal walking toxic bomb. So you guys brought up how if he would just hurry up and kill him, he would save so many people. No, he would actually kill way more because that toxic in him would turn him into the Batman who laughs.
I mean,
Batman who laughs.
Wait. What Mephisto brought up was just that you could plug in any of the Batman villains as an example, not just Joker.
That's what I was saying, Skitty. I would
Yeah. He should fucking kill all his villains. Except for Clayface. None of that rehab shit works with the other people.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so all the random Mephisto, sit down or I'm taking you under the seat.
Oh my God!
What the fuck?
I am taking you under the seat.
Shut the fuck up. Continue.
Golly. All right, so where was I? Y'all lost me. All right, so y'all are talking about how more efficient it is. Well, or his moral compass, how it's illogical. Punisher, when he was fighting against Daredevil, he was spamming guns and he accidentally killed or hurt a homeless person. He tagged a homeless person. He shot an innocent guy. And because of
Have you seen The Purge?
Fuck a homeless person.
We're going to... Oh, my God. Wow.
That's more efficient. You're just adding to the efficiency, but keep going.
So when you guys bring up... So you brought... Splash, you brought up how when Punisher shoots people, he doesn't act like a little girl. Oh, I'm sorry, I had to do it. That guy, he shot an innocent man on the street, living his life. For no reason. He was trying to shoot Daredevil, who is a local hero, by the way. I'm just going to point that out. He's trying to shoot this man. He misses, tags a homeless man. And because of that, he was hospitalized, and Punisher had to go out of his way to go visit him in the hospital, make sure he didn't die. So clearly, Batman's got something going.
That sounds like a stand-up guy.
Clearly,
I don't know why you're trying to paint him as a bad person.
Clearly, it shows that Batman's way is superior, as he's not out here tagging innocent people in the crosshair.
I mean, he is doing that inadvertently by allowing. He allows his villains to do that.
When Batman pulls out a gun and shoots homeless people, call me. So continuing on, right? So not only do we have clearly...
Actually, I think I have a scan of that. I'll get that.
Oh no.
So not only... Oh no. So not only do we have Batman's way being shown superior in terms of the long run, the whole rehabilitation thing, that only doesn't work on criminally psychotic people that he can't kill, like Joker, as Jade already said. If he kills them, it's going to be worse in the long run. We all saw what the Batman Who Laughs can do in DC Metal. That guy brought the entire multiverse to its knees and sicked Barbados on every. So there's that.
I already addressed this point.
No, I'm just restating it since everyone kept bringing it up. And then we've got, right. So I brought up the gun thing. I brought up the logical thing. As for rehabilitation, it doesn't work on the criminally insane, but in terms of like regular people, they're so scared of Batman that they don't do it again. Like random thugs and robbers, that works on them, and that's Batman's majority of people. The Punisher just goes and kills these people, but because of Batman, sparing their lives, yeah, they might have like a broken leg or something afterwards. Not only are they alive, but they go on to become contributing members of society, not corpses in a body bag.
They fucking move. They literally move out of Gotham.
Oh my God.
Okay, either way works.
Wait,
no, it doesn't. Okay, wait. Here. Let me apply your logic, Skinny. Let's say homeboy Jerry is a rapist in my city, right? Rapes the fuck out of 50 straight people, like goes on a mad streak. I scare the shit out of him, and he moves to Philadelphia and goes on 100 rape street, but it's okay because it worked. He's not raping my city anymore. That's not any better.
Okay. Yeah, that's not good. No, that's
bad.
Bad.
So Batman just making them go do hood rat shit somewhere else isn't good.
That's bad. Huh?
Yeah.
Gray wants to tag in.
Yeah, okay.
What I'd like to counter, whenever Splash not interjected, but whenever he refuted my point about the Batman Who Laughs, I understand that what Punisher's doing, he's doing it because it will have more efficiency. That's what he's believing. That's his moral code, right? and then I'll address the other second half of your point. But the problem is with Batman is that Batman, he wants to be more careful because there's specific examples, right? And when Batman is shown that like his the alternate timeline or like the other multiverse, where like Batman snaps Joker's neck, he becomes the Batman who laughs. He's literally just himself with morals just as black as the Joker. He does not want that to happen. So what he does is he avoids killing people. And I understand that killing people in Punisher's case, it is efficient. But the reason why Batman doesn't kill in this scenario is because he's been presented times where when he has killed or has been shown times where he has killed, right? That does not go like very good, and it goes way, way worse than him not killing. So what I believe is that if anything, I believe Batman would be more relatable or at least more three-dimensional because he is able. You can understand his mindset a lot more with him than the Punisher, because in the case of the Punisher, he's sloppy in that case. He's just, all right, let's kill people because it'll be efficient. With Batman, he sees one example and he will not try to fail off of that. And then with
He doesn't shoot homeless people.
And then with the point, and with the point of like, okay, him still, doing that efficient tactic but still sticking to his moral codes. Yeah, Batman does the same thing, except their morals are the exact opposite. I do believe that in Punisher's case, and in just the plot of Marvel in general, it isn't as like, I wouldn't say dark, but it isn't as specific and as practical as this case. Because in this case, Batman is thinking about every possibility, and he says, if I kill this person, say I kill Joker, the bomb goes off, I become the Batman who laughs, and not just a person dies or something, and the city is saved. No, the fucking multiverse dies. I go around other multiverses with other dark Batmen who destroyed their own multiverses to destroy the actual multiverse.
Sweet. Okay, so look at this. Like, all right, Jade, you missed the beginning part. I talked about the story of Punisher when he had gotten through, mutilated a bunch of Russians, torturing them, shooting, blowing their heads off, just fucking them up, gets to the little girl and she's crying and she says, I'm tired of these men hurting me. They won't stop stabbing me and running experiments on me. And he said, anyone that hurts you, I'll hurt them worse. And when he came back to the U.S., he stood over her and literally like broke the arms of the doctors that tried to experiment on her, even though they weren't bad guys, because he made that promise to that little girl. Another example of Punisher's morals being more relatable and someone even better to root for than Batman, which at the end of the day, I feel like Punisher's way easier to root for, is because Punisher, when he was in Vietnam, he was going after the Viet Cong, and he had this group of people, and the story's being told by a young man in his group who got drafted, didn't want to be there, wanted to get home to his wife and his newborn. He talks about how hardcore Frank Castle is. No one likes him. Everyone's afraid of him. But no one had died in Frank Castle's unit. And so they took out some Viet Cong, and the group's there except for Frank. Frank's back at a camp, or at least that's the idea. And there is a Viet Cong girl that was captured, and the Marine unit, Frank Castle's unit, starts raping her. And the young man steps in to stop it and gets beat up and called a pussy for trying to stop it. And he's sitting there. He's like, dude, we've lost ourselves in this war. This war has broken us. And he goes down later to that same watering hole because he had a broken nose to like wash himself off. And he went and hid in the bushes because the guy that beat him up was there again getting water. He sees Frank Castle come down to the water. Remember, this is the same guy in his unit, this unit where he has not lost anyone yet. And he puts his foot down on that back of that Marine's head and drowns him. And then he sees the young man, and he walks up to him and he said, don't worry, kid. People like that aren't the good guys. I don't give a fuck what uniform they wear. That's not a good person. They got to go. And he said, I'm going to get you home, kid. And then that's when the guy realized, Frank might be hardcore. Frank might be hard to talk to. But at the end of the day, Frank's who you want on your side because Frank knows the difference between right and wrong. There's a shit ton of gray area in between right and wrong. Well, Frank's not afraid to go swimming in that gray area because that's what it takes to win and that's what it takes to keep people safe. And Punisher, there's a misconception that Punisher just loves to kill people. That's all he wants to do. No, his priority is to keep people safe because the one thing he couldn't do was keep his family safe. And the way he feels to keep his family safe is to get rid of the people that could take someone else's mother and daughter by putting a bullet in their head. The reason you can't really bring up good Punisher villains is because they're all fucking dead. Because Punisher gets it done, which is the difference between Batman. Like, the Batman's moral code, you can sometimes argue, it's pretty efficient or it's logical in his case. It makes sense. But to us, like I brought up with the Texas case, it's more relatable in Punisher's situation because we understand the pain and how he reciprocates it and why he does what he does. And when we get to see his lines, like clearly drawn that he won't cross, it makes him so much better because he's supposed to be a monster at simple face value. He's just supposed to be the monster who happens to be on the good side. He's not the monster. He is the guy that kills the monster no matter what side they're on. If it's a fucking monster, Frank will kill it. And that's what makes him so great. So, Dr. Tom, would you like to put in a statement?
Oh, fuck.
No, that's good, Jade. I got it.
I wanted to say something.
After Tom, I'll let everyone get in like a quick 1 minute finisher. Tom.
Yeah, sorry.
He just unmuted. Okay.
Say what's on your mind, Chief.
I got nothing really else to say.
I agree, Marv. All right, Skinny, go ahead.
All right. So this is naturally an argument on which is the better character. And so I'm going to bring into some other core values of a good character, right? As conceded by Splash, simply put, Batman has better villains. He has better stories.
Because he's a pussy. Don't misrepresent what I say.
Those are other characters. That's not Batman.
As conceded by Splash, simply put, Batman has better. And look, it's a concession from Splash. Y'all better take this to heart.
Yeah, I concede that Punisher is more of a man than Batman. I 100% concede that.
Yep. No,
I concede.
I don't know.
I concede Punisher goes harder in the paint. I concede that.
As conceded, simply put, he has better villains. Better villains make for simply better stories. And since this is a debate on which is the better character, I offer the audience this: which one has better stories? Which one has these giant, long-lasting stories, these memorable? Because I can't think of a single Punisher story that really hit home in terms of movies, right? Let's talk about the movies.
Hold up. Fuck you, Skinny. Go read Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. Go read Punisher Max by Garth Ennis. All of the omnibuses. I will fucking sit here for 8 hours and read you these comics.
Wait. Really?
Jason Aaron.
Really?
Jason Aaron.
Really?
Listen, Jason Aaron. Yes, I'll fucking do it too. Jason Aaron, Jason Aaron's one of the best writers right now. Jason Aaron said Garth Ennis, Punisher Max is god shit. There is no better comic book than Punisher Max, Garth Ennis, which is 100% true.
Okay, so that's
so fucking godly. No,
that's one
like saying Superman doesn't fly. That's stupid shit. Stop saying stupid shit.
One decent book out of
omnibuses. These are entire omnibuses.
Let's just agree to disagree. Either continue or let me go.
I just scored something there, boys. Anyway.
No, you said stupid shit.
So the story. I mean.
Let me go. Come on.
All right. Then we've got the movies, right? Batman's got the phenomenal movies. I don't think Punisher has the movies.
He does have movies. Punisher does.
He's
got one movie that I didn't hear of.
If we go off fucking movies, we're getting raped. But go ahead.
Yeah.
2004.
Yeah, right.
But again,
you can't capture Punisher on film. He goes too hard.
This is a debate on character. I am bringing up feats that Batman's character has presented.
Yes, you did make a good case that Batman's other characters are really good.
Yeah, what the fuck was that about?
Like I said, no, sit. All right, I know you're mad. So, as conceded, better villains, which make for better stories.
Yeah, I concede that Batman's not good. His villains are good.
He's got more memorable stories.
Those people aren't Batman.
Batman's character. Batman. I'm not talking about Batman himself. I'm talking about Batman's character and the stories they're in. They are better because, as conceded by Splash, they have better villains, which make for better plots, right? And then we got. Look, I know I'm just dragging that nail in. So then we have the movies. Batman's an iconic movie figure, and
All right, shut the fuck up, Skinny. Let me ask the audience
really
this,
bad.
since he wanted to say some dumb shit to the audience. If this isn't a legitimate debate, which I think everyone agrees that this is a legitimate debate, and you are conceding that Punisher, his stories are rivaling and like his character is still debatable without consistent villains, without the help of other characters, that just shows how fucking good Punisher is as a character. That he can make his shit so compelling without the need of other characters to come in and sweeten his shit.
Okay.
There you go. That's the response to his stupid shit.
Okay. Alright. So just to address this is a debate about who's a better character narratively, not their fucking story overall, not their like. I know what narrative means. I mean, not their whole background as like a continuity.
I was talking about the story. Y'all are taking y'all are straw manning me. Hold on now. Y'all are putting words in my mouth.
Okay, hold on. Okay, but
you had the biggest straw man.
Okay,
I don't know what you're talking
this
about.
Is what I did say, Splash. I'm not contesting. Shut the fuck up, Mephisto.
Guys, wait.
I'm not contesting that Punisher is more reliable. I corrected myself. I said Batman is just more three-dimensional because, yes, you do see Punisher's thoughts. You do see how he thinks. You do see the course of action he takes. But whenever you look at Batman, it is more practical in his case because he is thinking, okay, because of this, look what fucking happens. I turn into basically the Joker. I destroy my own multiverse, other multiverses, and I'm about to destroy this multiverse too. So I don't want to kill this person because this will lead to more damage. So what can I do? Should I kill them?
Jade, I did refute this by saying Punisher doesn't fall apart if he does that.
Okay, and what I'm saying is that that's what knocks off the three-dimensionality.
Why? Because he has what it takes to get the job done?
Because of the fact that you see how more practical Batman is than Punisher.
This is like legit getting heated.
No. Okay,
Really?
Jade, what I said before you got here, I brought up an instance I wrote a paper on of a story in Texas where a father got in a car crash. His whole family died, and when he got out, the driver that hit them was drunk. And he walked home, got his gun, came back, and put a bullet in his head. And the jury, everyone on that jury, refused to find him guilty because they understood where he was coming from. That's my argument for Punisher as a relatable experience. Is we understand why he goes the route he goes.
Okay, and I understand that he is more relatable. I'm not contesting the point. What I'm saying is that Batman is more dimensionalized. You see more layers of him, and I'm not trying to bring this up narratively, but it is a good way to help people understand this. So whenever Emperor Joker gets into the story and it's in like Batman the Brave and the Bold, you see how much Joker tries to get in Batman's head, and there are layers into his brain. Each of those layers are symbolizing his morals, his ideas, his ideology, his philosophy. So whenever this happens, right, he blows up the safe. Joker blows up this layer, okay? He's blowing up his ideology. He's blowing up this. He literally recreates what started Batman, right, in front of him. And that literally destroyed him. So he killed him. And because of that, that caused more pain. I'm not saying that Batman is more, he's stronger, like character-wise. What I am saying, though, is I am saying that it is more relatable because you can see how practical his answers are to those kind of situations.
Wait, Jade, you said you acknowledge that Punisher's more relatable.
But I'm talking about dimensionality right now. I'm talking about the layers of the character.
He's not as relatable, but he's more relatable.
Okay, when I say dimensionality, I'm saying that there's more layers to not as much layers as to his character to Batman. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so to answer that, I think Batman's complexity at certain points, it becomes too much where it's like, okay, like I can't relate to this.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah, fucking normal people don't have to worry about the multiverse.
Okay.
But here we have this regular guy sitting here like, hey man, if I shoot this guy in the head with a Glock, the multiverse is in trouble.
Okay, right. And then let's just get to this point. Okay, so I understand, right, that is not as relatable. I'm not contesting the point, and I understand you're bringing that as complexity, not relatability.
And I
But
do think Punisher is just as complex. In their good ways.
I do believe he is complex, but I do believe the way Batman presents it is better because you can see his thought process more like it seems reciprocated in that sense than like Punisher does. Punisher, you see why he kills people and you see what he does, right? But with Batman, you see how one little domino affects the other domino.
Well, we also see that with Punisher. Do you know why Punisher kills people?
No, I'm pretty sure, but I think it'd be better if you just told me. Just there's no miscommunication.
Well, yeah, this isn't a setup. A lot of people don't know this, but in Punisher Max, Bullseye stalked the fuck out of Punisher. He wants to become the person he kills. So he finally faces off with Punisher, and he says, "What'd you say to your family before they died, Frank?" And Frank was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And he's like, "What'd you say, Frank? Say it out loud." Now, what do you think Frank said to his family in the park before they got their brains blown out? What do you think he said to his wife?
I don't fucking know.
All right, so think of Punisher's character, and think of what we naturally think of why he does what he does.
I will hurt anybody if they harm me, I'm gonna assume.
No, that's not what he said. So everyone assumes he says, "I love you," or he's like, "I'm glad to be home." Like that. What he actually said, "I'm leaving," because Punisher's family to him brought
You
that.
cut it out. Right?
He said,
Oh, fuck y'all. So what he said was, "I'm leaving you," and what it created such a complexity in Punisher because he went from this guy we always saw as the righteous killer to he was actually a lot of the time he's killing out of guilt because when he was in war, when he was doing the things he had to do, he became chaos. He lived in chaos, and his family being home, it wasn't home anymore because his house is chaos. His house is killing the bad guy. And so he needed to be released. And he feels so much guilt for that being a fact of his character that he has to punish people. He has to do the right thing to the point where the last thing he told his wife before she died in his arms was that he was leaving her. Even though he loved her, he loved his family. That it adds so much depth to his character because his pain became so much more than a simple revenge.
Okay, so the reason why, like, I think that in that same sense, if you compare the whole multiverse shit to that, I think that they do hold the same value. But the reason why I hold Batman's overall dimensionality over Punisher's is because there are instances such as whenever he actually starts as Batman, or like not starts, whenever he gets the symbolism, whenever his like parents died, right? When that happens, that is symbolized throughout his whole narrative. That is based upon his whole narrative. And the reason why he fights and he tries to like help these people like Joker instead of just killing them is because he sees hope in people. And I know you brought this up. I just want the audience to think about this too. You too, Splash, but you probably already have this in your head. So think about this. What good of a character would someone be if they just gave up? They just gave up and didn't do shit. They would not have that same development. They would not have that same dimensionality.
I would like to present the definition of insanity. Trying the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Wouldn't that result to Punisher too?
Hold on. Yeah.
No, because he's not dealing with the same people.
Yeah, he is basically.
Hold on, Skinny.
Yeah, he is.
Hold on, Skinny. Hold on.
Right,
I never contested that point. I do believe Batman is also insane.
Mm-hmm.
So what I am just saying is that he's just more dimensionalized because there are points where he does not care about some of the things. He will not care if he goes to insanity. He will not care about any of these things, but he will keep hope because how good of a character would someone be? Say, give you this example. There's this like little structure for characters. It's called the hero's journey. What if whenever they get to that little point where they're down and they get fucked?
You
right?
just pissed off every high schooler watching this because they hate doing that anymore.
Yeah, dude. What the heck?
No.
Like, what the actual
Yeah,
heck?
man.
Like,
Alright.
what the heck?
Whenever they get to that stage when they're just fucked, right? They just give up.
Puberty
No
wasn't
more,
that bad. Shoot.
no more steps after that. They just get fucked and they give up. That is it. You can say that'd be more relatable because maybe most people wouldn't want to keep trying again, right? And I will wrap up soon, Donovan, and we can get the neutrals. But the point is that it will not be as dimensionalized because if somebody just keeps on going and going and going and going and just giving up, that's why I believe Batman is more dimensionalized and why all of those situations, they would hold more value than what Punisher is doing. So would you like to counter or go on, or would you like to just get neutrals?
The only thing actually, I talked a lot for my team. Sin, do you want to get a quick word in?
Sucks.
So,
Bro, I founded it.
let's see. Do I have anything?
Alright, and I'm the fucking
I
captain.
made this country, you little bastard.
What you talking about? I was carrying this thing. I struck a gold mine. What are you talking
Oh
about?
god.
I'm carrying you right now, nigga.
I struck Splash in
Danny-
the back.
Danny was the only
You
one that
automatically
pissed
lost,
off.
bro.
Maybe you were
I was
like
going
carrying until I got here, but
Anyway,
I
Neutral Face had the hardest point, but
anyway.
There we go, right there, boy.
Hold on. Sin, do you want to say anything though?
Yeah, I don't even think I got anything. I think what's been said is pretty good.
All right,
The judges can go.
neutrals. Donovan, go ahead.
You see, like Batman's like being kind of like a satire on like logic and anxiety and paranoia, and like Punisher's more about like righteousness and like revenge, things of that nature. I think that Batman has like better satire, and I'd agree with the dimensionality thing. I think he's more layered as a character. I think there's more like to that sense of satire, but I don't think he's as relatable because of the extremes it goes to. Like as Splash said, I do think that Punisher is more relatable as a character because not just like for the fact that can relate to like to do what you think is right, despite the fact that it may not be what within society's moral systems. I do think that it's relatable just because of the fact that you feel like he's kind of like the underdog, and if you want to think of it like that, although he's like killing people, like a bunch of people, I would see him as an underdog because he's like he's put in a situation where like it's really shitty, and he's taking no one's bullshit. He's going in and he's like taking care of business just because that's who he is to do, and he doesn't like change on his position at all. He stays. And no, Batman doesn't either. But the way I feel like it's the way Punisher does it is more relatable because it doesn't have to be for like a position of power. He doesn't have to be a billionaire. He doesn't have to be a fucking genius, or doesn't have to have all these resources to like stay with his moral position and be as logical and prepared for all these situations that are so grandiose that we couldn't really comprehend them. And that's why I think I'm going to align more with Punisher. I think Punisher is a better character in the sense of this debate.
Oh, fun fact. Did y'all know that like Punisher's pretty much banned from prison?
Right.
Because Punisher wants to go to prison to fuck them all up. So they're like, we can't put Punisher. Like one of his gifts for completing a mission one time was Fury told him he'd let him go to prison. Punisher was like, hell yeah. But yeah, anyways, all right, Mephisto. Let me fucking remind you one last time. Don't add arguments in your own head. Just speak on the arguments you heard.
Or I might have to get you.
Yeah, but no, seriously, Mephisto, go ahead.
Well, I agree with what Jade said about there's more layers to to Batman, or his more mental state. But I also agree with Splash about how Punisher is more relatable as a character. How I would feel if I were in Punisher's shoes, I don't have to worry about me killing this villain. The whole like multiverse, pay the consequences for it. I find that the way Splash and his team presented how Punisher is kind of opened my eyes a little bit to his character. Though I will say for Batman's side that he does have good stories and villains, but you gotta think about for what Batman's villains, he does create majority of his own roster through his actions. But that's just my take on it. Oh,
You
also,
couldn't,
Wait,
you
so
couldn't
who
just
won?
say Splash and Sin.
I said you team.
It's also just to remind everyone, it's not really about like these aren't judges for like a debate. This is just a discussion and people to weigh in. But Chadwick, what do you think?
Yo, okay. So basically, pretty much what Mephisto said is that Jade's point about Batman's layers. You know, he's like an onion, a complex onion, and it's
His
just
donkey from Shrek head ass. But keep going.
Hashtag Onion.
Layers in onion.
But like again, like what Mephisto said, Punisher is. I'm gonna have to give the relatable thing to Punisher.
All right, so what? Yeah, what's up?
Okay. Who was the fucking idiot on my team who said that Batman is more relatable than Punisher? Because I don't get why you'd contest that point.
What? You're the fucking idiot that agreed he was
What
more
the fuck?
relatable.
I never contested that point. What the fuck?
Damn. Jay's
Oh,
here
you're
to
saying
himself.
who
What a
contested? Oh,
Oh,
okay.
there's only 2 other people on your team. Take it up. With them.
Yeah. I said he was realistic and logical.
Okay, so who said he was more?
I miss LeBron.
I guess it was
Miss
Tom.
Laurent. You miss
I
Laurent.
wasn't giving you context, but you all suck at basketball.
Oh,
What?
Sorry,
yeah.
I was doing a drive-by. I'm sorry.
Oh,
Damn.
he said I miss Laurent. I miss him too.
Yeah,
Make more
I
Laurent
run
videos.
my block. You heard me. I called the whole hood out on basketball.
Like,
But anyways,
make more Laurent videos.
was there anyone else that was here the whole time that want to give in a final word?
I think Godspeed was here the whole time.
Was anyone here the whole time that wants to say something?
I was
Yeah.
here the whole
Yeah,
time.
this is
Yes,
going
the
on
entire
camera.
time.
Yeah. Welcome.
Wait, what do you want me to say? Whole time?
Was there anyone else that wanted to say anything? Oh, is that Chuck? The cuck himself?
Yeah, that's
Chuck-
Chuck. Yeah.
What?
Oh,
Chuck
yeah,
is in
that's
Chuck
Chuck.
have any roles? I
Oh,
gotta
Chuck's
look
in
Chuck
DC?
up.
Hold on. Can I
Chuck is he's omnipotent plus. Fuck out of here.
Oh, rip.
Where's Chuck?
Chuck for fan service. Who do you think's a better character,
He
Batman
said,
or Punisher?
I know who's going in the title now.
Lispy Chuck.
I don't see any guy named Lispy Chuck in the goddamn chat. What the
Chuck
fuck?
refuses to be the sex symbol of the VC. That's fine.
I
But
think you're
we'll
crazy.
say he goes with.
Isn't it-
No,
monotony shit?
that's him. But Bruiserweight, were you here the whole time?
Nah, I joined like 30 minutes after you guys started talking.
All right, so I don't think we have anyone left that would
Oh,
weigh
that's
in. Mr.
Thursday.
Jazz might. What about Jazz?
Is Jazz even here?
Yeah, he is. That boy stays on mute. But anyways, so no one else. But so in the comment section, put who you think is a better character, not who wins in a fight, because don't be little dickheads. But put who you think's a better character based on the First, I want you guys' opinions on the arguments presented, because I'm fucking sick of hosting debates and hosting discussions where they don't listen to the arguments; they just put their own opinion. That's just stupid. But so give us your opinion on the arguments presented, and then you can put your own personal opinion. But yeah, anyways, thanks to everyone that joined the roundtable, and fuck Skinny for saying Punisher has no good stories. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That was
Blueface out,
Blueface is a retard. Blueface is a retard.